Hello, basketball people, we have news. Let's go to more news about the Golden State Warriors. I ask you to give a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel, as I am a Warriors fan. Ben Simmons of the Los Angeles Clippers is an elite defender who is currently in a career slump, but for the Warriors he will be a cheap gamble, and Ben Simmons could make a comeback playing alongside Stephen Curry and Jimmy Butler. Ben Simmons is a great defensive option for the Warriors' rotation. Last season, Jackson Davis started 37 games and averaged 6.6 points and 5.0 rebounds per game, showing promise as a rim runner and energy big. But Golden State's frontcourt landscape has shifted. The addition of Al Horford and the rise of rookie Quinton Post, a floor-spacing big who can stretch defenses, have pushed Jackson Davis further out of the rotation. In fact, through the first 9 games of this season, he's logged just 52 total minutes with 4 DNPs. When Horford sits, Jackson Davis gets a small window, but his plus-minus rating, -3 across those opportunities, and lack of offensive versatility have made it difficult for Kerr to justify more minutes. That's why Blue Man Hoops' Peter O'Keefe recently floated a controversial but thought-provoking idea: waiving Jackson Davis before his $2.2 million contract becomes fully guaranteed in January and using the open spot to take a flyer on 3-time All-Star Ben Simmons. Why Simmons makes sense. On the surface, Simmons' inclusion seems counterintuitive, another non-shooter in an offense dependent on spacing. But the deeper you look, the more his profile fits Golden State's needs. Simmons, even in decline, remains a rare blend of size, defensive versatility, and playmaking. He's still capable of switching across positions, initiating transition offense, and facilitating from the frontcourt, a skill set Golden State currently lacks beyond Draymond Green. For his career, Simmons has averaged 7.2 assists, 7.4 rebounds, and 13.1 points, numbers that hint at the kind of multidimensional impact Kerr could weaponize in short spurts. In a system designed around movement and quick reads, his passing could revive bench units that have stagnated without Stephen Curry on the floor. He could function as both a small ball 5 and secondary initiator, essentially a second Draymond without the shooting expectation. The risk and reward. Of course, the Warriors would be taking a calculated gamble. Simmons hasn't been an all-star since 2021, and injuries plus confidence issues have derailed much of his recent production. But with an open roster spot and a veteran minimum price tag, the risk is minimal compared to the potential schematic payoff. Jackson Davis, on the other hand, carries little financial downside but also little upside within this current construction. At 25, he's not a developmental project anymore, and with Golden State clinging to the final chapters of the Curry era, every rotation spot must serve the pursuit of winning now. If Simmons can give Kerr even 8 to 10 solid minutes of playmaking defense off the bench, the experiment might be worth the shakeup. And if it doesn't work, the cost is negligible compared to the potential reward of reigniting a player whose skill set once made him one of the league's most dynamic forwards. The Warriors don't need another big man, they need a connector. And while Tracy Jackson Davis offers dependability, Ben Simmons, even at a fraction of his former self, offers something much rarer: possibility. Rookie compared to Golden State Warriors champions. Curry and Green are the engine that has run the Warriors for their entire run. However, they have long been insulated by one of the best supporting casts in the NBA. Richard was picked 56th overall out of the University of Florida. He knows how to slot into his role to find team success. He played a big role in the Gators winning the 2025 national championship. Kerr sees how that talent carries over into the NBA. "Who are those stabilizers in our run over the last decade?" asked Kerr on a Thursday radio appearance with 95.7. "It's Andre Iguodala, it's Sean Livingston, it's David West. You need them at different positions because Steph and Dre need stability around them to get them organized and to help them navigate the game and to get Steph the ball." Of course, Richard didn't play with Curry in his excellent outing. Kerr knows that his dual playstyle and efficient scoring bodes well for a partnership between Curry and Richard moving forward, especially if injuries open up more playing time for the rookie. Golden State Warriors are on notice. If Richard forces his way up the depth chart, someone has to slide down. Buddy Hield has been disappointing so far this season, and Richard's rebounding and two-way potential could be enough for the change to be for good. There isn't much time to waste in Golden State, and the Warriors will turn to whoever they can. Well, Richard checks all those boxes, Kerr added. The whole team, the whole organization, recognizes this, which means everybody's on notice. Take care of the ball, because we've got people who will do that. And they're ready to step in. Between Quinton Post and Brandon Podziemski, the Warriors have found solid talent later in the draft. Richard was drafted by the Memphis Grizzlies and traded to the Warriors. That deal has clearly worked out better for Golden State. Warriors quietly have one of the biggest contract steals in the entire league. With the new CBA coming into effect in recent years and the restrictions that apply to first and second apron teams, finding valuable contracts have never been more important. Fortunately, the Golden State Warriors might quietly have one of the biggest steals across the entire league. Rookie guard Will Richard announced himself to the NBA with a stunning performance on Wednesday night against the Sacramento Kings, dropping a career-high 30 points on 10 of 15 shooting to emerge as a shining light from Golden State's 121-116 defeat. Warriors have a major contract steal with Will Richard. Richard made his first career start in just his 7th NBA game, taking advantage of the absence of veteran trio Stephen Curry, Jimmy Butler, and Draymond Green. The 22-year-old made a statement right away, bottoming a couple of threes and getting a couple of buckets in transition to record 12 points in his first stint on the floor. He was also significant in Golden State's comeback efforts during the fourth quarter, playing all 12 minutes and scoring 8 points to go with 3 rebounds and 2 assists. Richard's 30 points came on 5 of 8 shooting from beyond the arc, while he also finished with 7 boards, 3 assists and as a +1 in the 5-point loss. First career 30-point game in Will Richard's first career start. There were plenty of stunning elements about Richard's game, not the least of which is the fact he was taken late in the draft at 56th overall. In fact, the Warriors only got their hands on him thanks to an increasingly smart trade that drew many skeptics at the time. Richard became just the second rookie in the league this season to record 30-plus points, with the other being the highly touted third overall pick VJ Edgecombe, who dropped 34 for the Philadelphia 76ers in his NBA debut against the Boston Celtics. Another remarkable element is the fact Richard's performance came after 2 straight DNPs and a quick assignment to Santa Cruz. Based on Wednesday's performance, the 6 feet 5 inches wing probably won't be seeing a whole lot of G League action going forward. Santa Cruz Warriors cut ties with 26-year-old Bahamian-born guard. The Golden State Warriors G League affiliate, the Santa Cruz Warriors, was busy last Monday, as they selected 3 contributors in the annual G League draft. However, 2 of those assets were recently waived by the Warriors, according to the G League's official website, including a 26-year-old Bahamian-born guard. Franco Miller Jr. spent 5 years at the collegiate level before entering the pros. Miller competed with Ole Miss as a freshman, but discovered it was an ideal fit after just 1 season. He averaged 0.3 points, 0.9 rebounds, and 0.3 assists in 19 contests. Following an uneventful freshman campaign, the 6'2" guard transferred to Florida Gulf Coast, hoping to make a more significant impact. Miller's production increased as a result of his change of scenery, as he contributed 5.7 points, 2.8 assists, and 2.7 rebounds per contest in year 2. While Miller's next 2 seasons weren't as productive, he undoubtedly saved his best basketball for last, senior season. The 2025 FIBA AmeriCup's top scorer experienced career highs in points, 6.5, rebounds, 3.4, and efficiency, 35.7% shooting from the field and 27.5% shooting from beyond the arc. Miller began his professional career last summer, signing a deal with FIBA Palma, who competes in the LEB Plata. Now that Miller is no longer a member of the Warriors organization, a return to the overseas basketball world is on the table. Warriors Draymond Green breaks silence on Kevin Durant beef. Draymond Green has never been shy about speaking his mind, especially when it comes to the Golden State Warriors dynasty. But after a week of headlines and social chatter about his latest exchange with Kevin Durant, the 4-time champion wanted to set the record straight. On a new episode of the Draymond Green Show, the Warriors forward addressed his relationship with Durant and the back-and-forth that reignited an old debate. "This ain't no beef," Green said. "Ain't no beef between KD and Draymond, but we gonna talk RS, because that's what we both do and we both love to do it. And we would do this sitting together and y'all don't see it, we'll do it and y'all do see it. Make no mistake about it, ain't no goddamn beef." Golden State duo revisit dynasty debate. It all started when Durant appeared on Netflix's Starting Five, where he shared his view that offense, not defense, wins championships. "You can't win without scoring," Durant said on the show. "It's cool to have a great defense, but if you can't make shots, you're not winning." Green, who has anchored some of the best defenses in NBA history, offered a different perspective in an interview with Sam Amick of The Athletic. "When we were at our best, it was because of defense," Green said. "People can talk about KD, Steph, Klay, but those titles came because we were the best defensive team in the league." Durant later responded on X, firing back with a tongue-in-cheek comment that sent fans into debate mode once again. Draymond keeps it real about KD and the Warriors. Green made it clear that the recent exchange isn't personal. For him, it's basketball talk, competitive pride between two players who helped shape one of the greatest teams ever. "We'll always have that type of relationship where we can talk about anything," Green said. "Even if we don't agree, it's never coming from a bad place. People love to make it seem deeper than it is. It's not. We just say what we think." That kind of honesty has always defined Green's voice. He's the heartbeat of the Warriors, blunt, emotional, unapologetic, and that same energy made his partnership with Durant both combustible and legendary. Their years together produced 2 championships and 3 finals appearances. It was dominance built on talent and tension, the kind of balance only great teams can manage. The Warriors' bottom line. Time has passed, but the respect remains. Durant's view of how the Warriors won titles may differ from Green's, yet both know how much they needed each other to reach that level. Green's message wasn't about proving who was right. It was about perspective. The debates may continue, offense versus defense, legacy versus longevity, but for Draymond Green, it's all love. "We gonna talk RS," he said. "But it's never beef." Will Richard has been the steal of the draft for the Warriors. Will Richard was a name that was overlooked by almost every NBA team in the 2025 NBA draft. 55 other players were picked before Richard, until the Memphis Grizzlies finally picked the former Florida Gator with the 56th overall pick. The Grizzlies would then trade the draft rights of Richard to the Golden State Warriors. The Warriors saw something in Richard that no other team did, his winning ability and his high basketball IQ. These traits are what have made the Warriors a dynasty in recent years. Richard has put these traits and many more on display throughout his first few games in the NBA, proving to be possibly the biggest steal in this year's draft. Early praise for Richard. Richard had an exceptional NBA preseason, showcasing his shooting ability and explosiveness off the bench for the Warriors. Head coach Steve Kerr is intrigued by Richard for more than just his offensive capabilities, though. In a pregame interview before a matchup with the Sacramento Kings, Kerr had high praise for Richard. "He's a really good versatile player, he can shoot and guard the ball, but he also understands the game off ball at both ends. He's in the gaps defensively, helping and rotating. He brings a ton of energy out there, you feel his energy when he is out on the floor." This is extremely high praise from Kerr, who has seen all types of players in his career as both a player and coach. The praise for Richard has also extended to his teammates, where Stephen Curry praised his competitive drive and ability to make winning plays. "You find a guy like that who just understands basketball, sees the game really well, he's fearless, all that stuff matters because it lifts the whole mood of the team." Just getting started. While Richard has seen inconsistent minutes so far this season, due to his stay-ready mentality, he has been very productive in the minutes he has played. There have been multiple times this season where Richard has been in the game for only a few minutes, but he makes such an impact, whether it is on the offensive or defensive end. However, in the Warriors matchup against the Kings on November 5, Richard was entered into the starting five due to the significant injuries to the Warriors roster. Richard absolutely shone in his first career start, dropping 30 points, 7 rebounds, 3 assists and a steal. He scored on great efficiency, shooting well over 50% from 3 and burying 5 triples. Despite the Warriors going on to lose the game, the performance of Richard was a bright spot for the team. This strong showing from Richard is just a preview of what he could potentially do for the Warriors if given an increase in minutes. Sky is the limit for Will Richard. Richard has unlimited potential and is in a perfect situation in the Bay to maximize it. He has a great core of veterans who are menaces on the defensive end, in Jimmy Butler, Draymond Green, Al Horford, and Gary Payton too. These are players who can help increase Richard's tenacity on defense. He is also teammates with the greatest shooter of all time, Stephen Curry, who can help Richard develop that aspect of his game. The Warriors' development is second to none, as they have picked many of their other contributors in the second round, and Richard seems to be their newest hit. In recent years, these picks include Quinton Post, Tracy Jackson-Davis, and most notably Draymond Green. As the Warriors' Hall of Famers continue to increase in age, the team is more often looking towards their young core for help, and Will Richard will continue to be the perfect addition to this young core.